Hey, welcome to this week's video. I'm super excited for this one, super excited. I think it is going to be awesome. First of all, shout out to anyone who's a returning visitor. Thank you so much for all your support and encouragement. I'm truly grateful, and I hope I am creating videos that offer you value and actually help you in your journey of entrepreneurship or business or or just becoming a legend. Whatever it is. If you're new to the channel, welcome. It's great to have you. Feel free to subscribe or check out some of the past videos. I hope you enjoy them as well. So this week, what are we going to talk about? Something that I think is very important. We're about to head into November, so 2 months of the year to go of 2019 before we head into 2020. So important time, and I think it's the perfect time to share a video about setting goals for 2020. Now, there's a lot of parts to this kind of video, and I can't do it all in once, so I'm going to make this a few different parts of what kind of goals to set, and that's this video, how to set goals and how to actually stay on track with those goals and measure your performance and so on, so on. So there's a few parts to it, but I think this is extremely important to get you thinking about it and what you're going to do next year. And don't get nervous about it. It's nothing crazy, so I think I've got a pretty good strategy prepared for you today, and over the next couple of videos that will just really help you out. But I believe that goal setting is extremely valuable, and if you want to have a successful life, and whatever success means to you, if you want to be successful, then goal setting is just it's a must. It really is a must, and it's a way to set like expectations, give you direction for where you're headed, and show how you're tracking along. So I think it's extremely important, and I'm going to talk about 5 different levels of goals that I'd encourage you to consider for 2020. And anyway, these are super important. So if right now that you're a little bit busy, you're on the bus and there's people around you, or you're a bit distracted, then I would encourage you to just log off this video, go into your calendar, set a reminder for tonight, and then watch this in full, in focus. Get a pen and a paper, because I think there's going to be some things for you to write down and really going to help. So I really encourage you to just be fully focused for when you're ready to watch this. So, all right, here we go. Well, the idea is we're 2 months out from 2020. It's coming fast. You probably felt like 2019 has just been, a month long, and can't really believe that we're 10 months in, and it's just moved so fast. That's how it's been for me. It's gone absolutely insanely quick. I've pretty much finished uni, final year done. Anyway, lots of things have gone on, and I can't really believe that we're almost at the end. Pretty mind-blowing. So I actually set some goals for myself at the start of the year, and did that whole New Year's resolution. Shout out to anyone who's done a New Year's resolution. Double shout out if you haven't followed it. That's me. Anyway, part of the fun, it's part of the learning. So it's okay if you've tried to set New Year's resolutions and followed them or not followed them. There's always another year to improve, and that's what we're going to try and do today. I set a bunch of different goals around a bunch of things, such as reading and earning and anyway, things like that. And for example, my reading, I set a goal for 18 books in the year, and I got to about 12, and I've got 2 months to finish the final 6. So if I want to achieve my goal, then I'm going to have to push hard. But that's been something that I did really well at the start, and then I kind of let myself down. So I'm not happy about that, and that's why I'll make another video about how to actually hold yourself accountable and make sure you're achieving your goals. Well, setting the bar high, but also actually giving you a chance to actually do it. So that's really important. But I've come up with 5 different levels of goals that you need to have, or that I think you should be considering. And the reason I'm wanting to do this video now rather than in a month or 2 months at the start of next year is because what I'm going to do is I'm going to write down a bunch of goals, and I know that when you try and do them all at once, so that's what happened last year. I tried to do all the goals as soon as January 1 hit, and it's really tough. You go, oh, I've got to do this, so your brain goes everywhere because you don't know what you're thinking about. There's too many distractions, too many areas that you're trying to focus on, and you end up just I guess you're burning out. I guess burning out's a good way to describe it. It just happens really fast where you stop doing everything and you go, okay, this one's not important, and then you sacrifice it. And this one, I'm going to give this one a skip today, and you sacrifice it. And then a few months down the track, you've either got none or a couple left. And then 6 months down the track, you've probably got one goal left that you're still actually chasing, and you've forgotten about them all. And then you get to the next year and you start writing your resolutions again, and you've completely forgotten about what you actually said in the past. So like, ask yourself right now, if let's say you've set some a New Year's resolution last year, do you actually remember what goals you set for yourself? I'd say a typical answer is no, and that's okay, because I've got some ways to help with that. So that's the issue, and the reason I want to do that 2 months is I'm going to, for myself, is have my goals and start implementing one by one. If, for example, if it's to read every day, then rather than doing that on January 1st, where I go, okay, from January 1st, I'm going to start this. I'm going to go, okay, from today, I'm going to start my reading, and then a few days' time, I'm going to start implementing another one of my goals, and then slowly build it up. So when I hit January 1, they're all in action, and I've been developing them over the last 2 months. So I don't feel like I'm getting slapped in the face with all of a sudden my life's a big, I'm just chained by these goals, because we don't want that. We want you to feel good about the goals, and like you can achieve the goals, and that they're not holding you back from, just being happy. So anyway, that's something to think about. So here's the 5 levels that I believe we should be considering when we're setting our goals for 2020. Now, they're in order. I believe they're in order of what's from least to most important. Well, they're all important, but the way you got to consider it. Anyway, they're in a slight order. So at the bottom we have our financial goals, and I'll go into more detail about what can go in each of these categories in a few minutes, in like a minute or so. But here we go. Just first, we have our financial goals, and we want to get some things in order. Now, above our financial goals is our learning goals. So to improve our finances, we need to be learning as well. Okay, so we can't achieve good financial goals unless we're learning. So learning is stage 2. Then stage 3 is our health. So there's no point having money and being educated if you're not healthy in your life. So we want to be really healthy so that we can keep learning and keep making money, and then doing the next step. And stage 4 is actually living. So what's the point of having money? Well, what's the point of having money and you can't make money if you're not learning? And if you've got money, what's the point if you're not healthy? And what's the point of being healthy and having money and being educated if you're not living your life? And then the top level, which I believe is the most important part, is relationships. So there's no point having money and being educated and being healthy and living your life, doing crazy cool stuff, if you're not sharing those experiences with others and making a contribution to the world. So the relationships is that top level of, it's not just about me, it's about the people around me. So I think these 5 things are super, super important, and there's definitely goals to be made within each of them. So I'm gonna go through all of them in order as to some things that you can think about, and I'd encourage you, I'm going to try and talk slowly as I go through them all, and I'd encourage you to actually write these down. I'll put them in the notes as well, so be able to look in the description and see what they are. But I'd encourage you to even just pause this video and think about each of the categories, and start thinking about what could you do. And then once the video is done, I definitely encourage you to spend maybe an hour or 2 hours, or even half a day, really thinking about what are the goals you want to set for 2020, why are they important to you, and how are you actually going to achieve them. So back to our financial goals. Level 1. There's 4 different, categories for financial goals that you could consider, and that's earning. So how much do you want to earn this year? And if you want to earn this amount, what's that going to take? Are you going to have to get a new job? Are you going to have to work extra hours? Are you going to start a business? And that's another example. So what are you going to have to do to earn that amount? The next one is saving. So from what your earnings, how much do you want to save? So at the end of 2020, how much do you want to have in the bank that's untouched, that's completely safe, that you've just got it, it's saved, all right? How much do you want of that? And that's really important, and I think one of the number 1 goals that I think young people should be doing. And in school, something I wish I started much earlier is setting savings goals. If it was by the week, for example, let's say you made $100 a week and you're going to save $10 of it. If I just had to set that goal throughout schooling, it would have made a big difference. So that's a regret. But anyway, we can start the saving goals now, right? Then the next one is our spending. We got to have spending goals as well. And it sounds crazy to, but it's more on the end of how much are you going to allow yourself. So an allowance, how much you're going to allow yourself to spend on certain things, whether it's food, clothing, experiences, whatever it is that's important to you. How much are you going to spend there? And just setting those limits. It's a budget in a way. I guess it pretty much is a budget, but don't see it as a budget, because budgets are restraining and they feel like you're getting locked down by chains. See it more as a goal. So it's not a budget, it's a goal. And your goal is to reduce your spending and reduce it to things that are important. Instead of buying this, you're going to save, instead of buying, say, like, I don't like to use this example, but so what I'm thinking of is, instead of buying the coffee every single day, let's save that coffee and put it towards something you actually really care about. And anyway, so that's really important. So there's our 3, and then the final one is an investing goal. Now this is a bit more full on and a tougher topic, and I won't talk about it too much. Maybe probably in another video I'll go into more detail about what I do for investing and who you can contact to get actually quality advice. I'm not a professional, so I can't really encourage you to do anything other than start thinking about investing, because investing is very powerful. It's about earning money and then putting that money somewhere else, and then the money earns money for you. So I believe in, rather than buying materials such as a car, rather than buying a car with your hard-earned hours at work, let's buy a car with the hard-earned hours that you've done at work, who's earned money, that's earned its own money, that can afford the car. I might have explained that badly. Anyway, that's what I believe. So start thinking about how much can you put away to invest each month, each 6 months, or in the year, and where you're going to invest that. Are you going to put it into shares, into your own business, into someone else's business? Anyway, just something to think about, but really think it's valuable. Maybe even you could be investing into actually learning about investing. So anyway, something to think about. So that's financial. We have earning, saving, spending, and investing. Number 2 is our learning. And now our learning can mean a lot of things, but there's 3 that I've written down that I think are just a starting point for what you want to be thinking about for setting your goals. Now, first one is reading. Now, you know how much I love reading and podcasts and anything where I'm just trying to extract information from people I respect or have done what I want to do, who are just further along the journey than I am. So I love to read, and you can definitely set reading goals. The one I set, which is why I got the 18 books in a year, I think this is a really good way to do it. All you do is read 5% of a book a day. And that's not much, hey. It's really not many pages, and if you do the 5% a day of a book, then in 20 days you finish the book, and that's roughly 18 books in a year with about, I think it's like 15 days of spare time. So I think that's a really good way to do it. That's what I do. Otherwise, maybe just set a book amount. So you want to read 10 books in a year, or 1 book a month, or 1 book every week. If you're really crazy, 1 book a day. I know some people do that, like Bill Gates and anyway, the crazy people of the world. They love to read just ridiculous amounts of books. So that's a really important one. So reading or listening to podcasts. But I encourage the reading over the podcast. I think podcasts are great for when you're on the move. A bit like what I was talking about in the video before, like while you're running, while you're studying, but the reading is just really good for the brain. It just alerts you. It means that you don't get distracted so easily. So anyway, that's what I think. Then the second one is, so we have reading. Second one is actually practicing. And what I mean by this is you currently have certain skills that are important in your career, or if you're studying while you're studying. And the idea of practicing is, what can you do to enhance the current skills that are important to to what you're doing? So if you're, let's say you're doing a real estate job right now, and you're early in the real estate days, but that's what you want to do and you're passionate about it. So how can we practice, what skills are important in real estate, and how can we practice those skills? So obvious examples would be marketing and sales. So for example, let's go with sales. We know that sales are really important as a real estate agent. So what do we want to do to keep practicing that skill in that's going to improve my ability in your job? So that's what I mean by practice. Practice the skills that are important to your career or to your life right now, and it's usually things that you're already developing. Now the next one, shame I said developing, because that's actually the word. Developing is the third one. And so whilst reading is just reading books, practicing is practicing a skill that's currently relevant and you're currently developing. Developing is a skill that you haven't ever considered before. For example, you're interested in investing, so let's learn about investing. Maybe you're interested in business, so let's consider developing and practicing and learning about business. So this whole learning section is just about getting other people's knowledge, practicing your current skills, and developing a new skill. There we go, that's how I should have said it the first time. Develop a new skill, okay? So practice the skills you currently have and develop a new skill. So that's the 3 for learning. Now we have our health. Now health's super important, everybody knows it. There's a lot of debate around what's a good nutrition plan, what's a good fitness plan, and nobody seems to have a straight answer. So look online, see what you can find. You're always going to find helpful tips and good ways to improve. But at the end of the day, it just comes down to eat less, exercise more. But there's 3 different categories within health that I want to talk about that you should be considering for your goals. Now the first is nutrition. Now this is the stuff that you're eating. Are we going to try and eat less? Or are we going to try and reduce our sugar intake, reduce the junk food that we're eating? Maybe we're only going to eat pizza 1 day a week rather than 5 days a week. That'd be a devastation. I think everyone would like to eat pizza 5 days a week. But what can you do to just improve your nutrition? And that can be setting goals to actually learn about nutrition, or get a personal trainer, someone who does know what they're doing. But anyway, don't go too crazy unless you want to be an athlete, about the carbohydrates and the proteins, and so go into that if you're interested in it. Go into it, but otherwise don't get too caught up on it. When it comes to nutrition, just eat healthier foods. Just eat the apples and the fruits and the vegetables and the meats, and just balance it all out. That's all it is. Well, personally, all I think it is eat in moderation, and you're going to be healthy. I know I eat worse than I'd like to, but I still feel like I'm in a healthy state, and that would be, I guess, credit to the next one, which is exercise. I do a lot of exercise, and I think that compensates for my not so good eating, but I definitely want to improve the eating. So I'm going to improve the eating, I'm going to improve how much water I'm drinking, and then I also want to improve my exercise. Now exercise for me, I'm talking more about, alright, let's give it a different way. I'm going to call it fitness. So exercise to me, I'm calling it fitness, and this is about the cardio work. So running, sprinting, swimming, rowing, any of those, just constant body movement. They're low weights, high repetition, and they're just getting your heart and your lungs pumping and getting your body moving for long periods of time. I think that's super important. Get your fitness up, get your endurance up. So set goals around how quickly you can run 3 kilometers, or how far into the beeps test can you get. So all those different things are good. And then the third one is actually your strength. So we've talked about nutrition, we've talked about our fitness, and now we want to talk about our strength, because it's not good to just be doing cardio. I think it's important to be strong as well, because when you do them together, cardio and strength, that's how you can be really, really healthy. So this is when you're lifting weights and doing push-ups, sit-ups, in the gym, doing whatever, bench press. Anyway, lots of different exercises, but set some goals around that as to how frequently you want to go to the gym, or what equipment do you need to buy to have it at your house so you can do it, or what kind of weights do you want to get up to and repetitions on certain exercises. So you can set millions of different goals in there, but I definitely encourage you to do strength goals. So that's the third one, health, which is nutrition, fitness, and strength. The fourth one is our living goals. And I think it's really important to think about these and not just leave it to spontaneous, trips away on holidays is awesome, but sometimes it's just important to set a goal around it, because the goal means that you make sure it happens. Because as we go through our daily lives, we're working away, things are popping up, and we often just get caught up in what we're doing, and we forget about actually living. Now, I got a friend that I've been seeing around lately, and he often talks about waterfalls is his thing. He loves to go see waterfalls, and every week he's been asking me, Nate, do you want to come to the waterfall? And unfortunately, I've had uni and it's been really busy and stressful, so I've had to say no, I can't do it this week, but I promise I'll go, and I still promise I will. But he's got his priorities right. He knows that he works hard through the week, and he knows when I get to the weekend, I'm going to make sure I make it count. So I think that's something I really respect, and something that I've lacked and failed to do well is think about what am I going to do as downtime or experience time, and just living my life and preparing it, scheduling it in advance to make sure I actually do it. So I've put three different categories to think about within living. The first one is travel. So where do you want to travel to, and what is it going to take to get on that travel trip? How long do you want to spend away? Where do you want to go? Is it somewhere just in Australia? So if you're living in Australia, then let's go somewhere in-state, because you can't spend much time away from work, for example. So let's just go somewhere close. Where can we go? When are we going to go? How often are we going to do it? Or we're going to go international and go on an amazing trip at the end of the year, just once in the year, but we'll spend 3 weeks away. So think about that, have it planned, and set a goal around it. The next one is hobbies. So I think it's really important to have hobbies, and these are the things that you don't do for money, you don't do for any reason other than you just love doing it because it's fun, makes you feel happy, and just leaves you feeling good. So for me, that's football. I love football. I've been playing since I was a kid, and I just see it more as a hobby now. I just do it because I love it. It keeps me fit. I enjoy it. I love the socialization of it. Anyway, it's just really cool. And hobbies can be anything. Could be drawing. Could be going out with friends. I don't know. Whatever hobby you have. There's so many different things. But find what your hobby is and make time for it. That's pretty much what I'm saying. And the third one is experiences. And this kind of falls under the other two, but I see it's slightly different. It's just, what can you do that's going to challenge yourself? Or for example, if you're afraid of heights, what experience can you do that's going to conquer that fear? Well, obviously jumping out of a plane, doing skydiving will help. So maybe that's a goal you set. I'm going to jump out of the plane, or I'm going to skate off that skate ramp because I haven't skated in 8 years. That was me a few days ago. Saw one of my old pals, grew up with him, and he was an awesome skater, and I used to skate a lot when I was young. Always loved doing it, but then I had a big fall once, and because I was focusing on football at the time, Mum said, all right, no more skating, it's time to be safe. Anyway, so I was pretty scared a few days ago when I dropped in on a skate ramp for the first time in many years. Anyway, but it was good. I made time for it. I felt like that was important to me that I did that. So have experiences. So travel, hobbies, and experiences. The final category that I really think it's potentially the most important. It's the most important, but it's probably the most difficult to write goals around. So I won't talk about it too much because it's still something that I'm thinking about, of how can you actually make a goal in a way that doesn't make it like, just you're forced to do something that you don't really want to do. So that's something I'm thinking about, but I would encourage you to see the value and the importance of this and start thinking about how you can potentially create some goals around it. So this is our relationships. Now we have relationships with, I'm calling it 4 categories of people. Firstly is our friends. Really important to maintain our friendships and have people that we can count on, who can give us advice, who we can support when they need help. people you just share common interests with. They're really important to have around. So how can we invest into our friendship relationships and maintain our relationships? Do we need to rebuild relationships that we've broken? Do we need to find new friends because our old friends aren't encouraging us or aren't lifting us up and improving our lives? So set some goals around that. Just think about the friends you currently have and what do you need and what don't you need, and just consider that. The next one is our family. Pretty much the same as the friend situation, but it's really important, I believe, to invest in your family relationships, and because they're the ones who, you're with them because of blood relation, but I believe it goes deeper than that. It's not just, I have to like them because they're my family, and it's sad that some people actually experience that, and I can't. I think that's sad in that. That's not been my experience, and I don't really know how to help situations like that. But what I do know is that family relationships do take effort, but they're just the most amazing relationships you can have when you invest into them. Anyway, the next one is actually making goals around relationships with others. So we've got our family, we've got our friends, and now others. And the others can be anyone. It can be the person next door, the person you work with, someone in the community, someone on the other side of the world. These are just the people that you don't have any strong relationship with, but you can help in some way, or there's a relationship to be formed. And I believe that just building relationships and helping other people that you don't know is really powerful, and it's really just it really actually helps you, I guess, on a really deep level. It's powerful, and I really encourage you to see how can you improve the lives of others and set goals around doing that. And again, like I was saying before, these aren't about setting goals so that you're restricted to, on Saturday I must go out and find one person and give them an apple. Like, that's not what we're talking about. I'm talking about just when you're out in your daily life, you're setting a goal that says that anytime I see someone that say looks sad and looks alone and looks like they need a friend, that I'm going to go up to them and just say, hey, how you doing? And that's all it is. And the impact that you have on their life, you don't know what it is, but who knows? You could really just turn their life around just by being that one person who approached them and showed an interest in their life. So don't go crazy. Don't set yourself, these tight limit boundaries. Just set a goal that says, I'm going to make an effort. Any opportunity I get, I'm going to make an effort to improve someone's life around me. And then the final category is faith. And now, I don't know what journey you're on, or if you consider yourself religious or whatever. It doesn't really matter. But I think this is something to consider. For me, I'm a Christian, and so I have a faith that believes in God, believes in Jesus, and so I want to set goals around how do I actually improve my relationship with my God and improve my faith. So anyway, I think that's something that's important. I'm not sure it doesn't matter what your experience is, but something to consider. But I'd like to improve the things that I'm doing in my life and become more aligned with what I believe, and keep trying to improve myself and improve the way I treat the world and treat others. So yeah, that's about it. So our 5 levels, we've got our financial, and our learning, and our health, and our living, and our relationships. So really, really encouraging you, take the time. Like, you've already made it this far into the video, so absolute respect. I hope you found it valuable and actually something that these are all obvious things, but when it's put in a list like this, it can be really helpful. So I'm excited I'm going to spend over the next week just starting to write these things down, and what am I going to do in 2020 to make 2020 an absolute boss year, because I don't want to get to the end of the year and be like, that was all right, I didn't do what I wanted to do. How about 21? I don't want that to be the case, because that's what this year's been like. I've achieved some of my goals, I've worked hard, but I'm not proud of. I could have gone way further. I could have done way more if I just set strong goals and stuck with them. So I want to make the next year insanely good, insanely like an insane amount of growth and learning and improving my life and lives around me. So it's really important to me, and I hope it's important to you. I think if you're watching this video, it is important to you. So you're awesome. So make this happen. Set the time out. If you're not free right now, set some time over the next day or two. Just the next day, make it tomorrow so that you guaranteed to do it. And then over the next 2 months, start implementing slow by slow each of your goals. And by the time you hit January 1, you're already fully rolling. And I'm gonna make a bunch of it. Over the next year, I'm going to keep making videos about goal setting and how to do it, how to improve it. And this is all while I'm learning the experience too, because I know I definitely haven't figured it out yet, but I know that I'm conscious of it and I'm trying to improve it, and I'm constantly trying to learn how to maximize my goal setting situation, because it's important. It's really important. It gives you direction. It gives you purpose. So I think it's important. So I'm going to close this up. If you found this valuable, I'd love for you to share it on with someone that you think needs to hear this message, someone that you know is interested in goal setting but not really sure what to do, or maybe that's you. And but if you want to ask questions, please just feel free to ask. Put them in the comments. Send me a private message. Whatever. Happy to answer them. I'll also be making a couple other videos about goal setting before the end of the year. Don't hold me to that. No, I'll actually do that. So yeah, all right. Well, good luck. Please, again, message me if you want any questions answered, and I look forward to seeing you next week. All right, farewell.